Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Check Me. Today, we're going to talk about the NFL Combine. Um, the NFL Combine, what is it? What is the NFL Combine? To me personally, I really don't think it really says anything other than physical attributes you can see on the guy. But then when it comes to NFL Combine, the most important thing I think is just the interviews. Some players choose not to do any drills and go for the interviews. They want to do it on their home turf. They don't want to do it at the actual NFL combine. And somebody from the NFLP actually mentioned about having regional combines. It does give exposure for players who don't have an opportunity or who are trying, on a larger scale, who are trying to get the opportunity on a larger scale. But when it comes down to it, if you look at out of the 20 fastest 40-yard dashes, only one player is a Hall of Famer, and that's Champ Bailey, and he ran 4.28. What about Deion Sanders? Deion Sanders never ran it. I think he was because he was afraid, so he doesn't count, right? But Deion Sanders, Champ Bailey is the only one in the top 20 to be a Hall of Famer. Of course, Tyreek Woolen, I think, was up there. We don't know the jury's still out on him. Yeah, now, but only like everyone wants to see how fast you are. And I agree. These are stats guys looking at Anthony Richardson, saying he look, physically he's a beast. Shoot, Lamar Jackson's gonna run a 40-yard dash there. He threw there, but he ran a 40-yard dash there. And even so, like if you break it down from position to position, it really doesn't tell what the player's doing or how they play in a game-like situation. It's just, can they throw? Can they run? Can they pass? How are their hips? Blah. But somebody can have horrible hips at a combine, but be in the right spot and on the field every single time. Who are you going to draft? The player with the good hips, or the player that's in the right spot at the right time? Game film is so important, and one of the best attributes you can have as a player is your mind. I don't care how if you have a 4.4, if you run a 4.4 or a 4.3, and we're in cover 3 most of the time, it really doesn't matter. If you don't know how to run a route, and you can have a fast guy who a fast guy doesn't know how to use his speed, doesn't know how to gauge his speed, doesn't know how to attack a blind spot. All these things. There are a lot of things that receivers, just because they're fast, they don't know. Quarterbacks, oh wow, Anthony Richardson, C.J. Stroud have amazing arms. But bro, like what does their game film say? They're throwing in open space with no pressure. Right? It's completely different. The defense isn't moving. There's no defense. Right? So you can study their mechanics. They can study all these things about them, etc. Patrick Mahomes, small hands. He's won 2 Super Bowls. I say that because how relevant is the combine? If you're gonna look at game film, and game film reigns supreme. And Jerry Rice was a 4.6 guy. The best receiver, the best player in the NFL all time was a 4.6 guy. I don't know what his shuttle was. I don't know what his a 20-yard shuttle was. I don't know what his L drill was. 3-cone drill was. But what I do know is he knows how to play football. So when assessing players and we get hyped up about the combine, the most important thing is game film. And if they want to make the combine a little bit more practical to how a player thinks and operates, have some bodies out there. Have some players out there shifting the defense. Show them cover 2. Show them cover 3. Show them cover 9, cover 6, right? Show him different types of defenses he may see in the NFL to see how he responds to it with multiple receivers, as opposed to just him just running. Invite more receivers to the combine so they can run some of those dummy routes. Find ways to give. Maybe it's HBCU guys running the routes. Find ways to get more exposure for these guys. For the HBCUs, but also like this, give them a realistic depiction of what it's like to play in the game, as opposed to just throwing routes on air, or a defensive player just, okay, hey, look, I want to see your hips, right? Give them a receiver to run, get them in a real life situation to see how they operate and how they think. You really can't see how a player thinks in the combine. You can see how well they do under pressure, but that changes. Things can change a player throughout their whole career. Players don't have the same typical mentality most time throughout their whole career. They continue to evolve and continue to get better. So I'm looking at the combine, I look at these combine numbers, and I'm like, oh man, look at this guy. Does it really matter? Because game film's going to reign supreme. Not a one-to-look test. Don't give a mathematical problem. It's completely different than being on a football field. Now, they do that to see how well they process information. How well do you process? Can you process information quickly, etc. But a math problem, somebody may process a math problem differently than they do on the football field because it's second nature of how they react. They may not be able to articulate it, but if they can understand it, they see it often, it's consistent. They watch more film, and they just know. Does it really matter if they do great on the Wonderlic test? So I think the essence of the combine is more a public show that that NFL is trying to make important. But in actuality, game film is the most important thing. And if the combine will be more effective and more realistic, and NFL coaches will start paying more attention to it, other than just the opportunity to talk to players, if they make it more like game-like situations, not just from their abilities of what they can catch a ball and not, etc. Because that can change in the game. So I think the NFL combine is diluted. Game film reigns supreme.